The topic discussed in the session is strategic human resource planning. Strategic human resource planning predicts the future human resource needs of the organization. After analyzing the company's current human resources, the external labor market, and the future human resource environment that the organization will be operating in. The analysis of human resource management issues external to the organization and developing scenarios about the future are what distinguishes strategic human resource planning from operational planning. Let's understand the definition given by Steiner. Strategy for acquisition, utilization, improvement, and preservation of enterprises human resources is referred as strategic human resource planning. According to Betty and Chenier, defines it as a sequential process. Strategic human resource planning involves certain elements, which are five. The first element is inputs into human resource planning, analysis of existing human resource requirements, forecasting of future human resource needs, implementing the plans, and evaluation and design or redesign of the human resource plan. So let's get started to understand the strategic human resource planning process. Basically, it involves four steps. The first step is assessing the current human resource capacity. Second is forecasting human resource requirements, followed by gap analysis. And the last step is developing human resource strategies to support organizational strategies. So let's understand the first step of human resource planning. SHRM, the first step is about assessing current human resource capacity. Based on the organization strategic plan, the first step in the strategic HR process is to assess the current human resource requirements of the organization. The knowledge, skills, and abilities of the present staff need to be identified. This can be done by developing a skills inventory for each employee. The skills inventory should go beyond the skills needed for the particular position. Therefore, they make a list of all the skills each employee has demonstrated. For example, recreational or volunteer activities may involve special skills that could be relevant to the organization. Educational levels and certificates or additional training should also be included. An employee's performance assessment form can be reviewed to determine if the person is ready and willing to take on more responsibility and to look at the employee's current development plans. So this is the first step, all about assessing the current human resource capacity. The next step is about forecasting human resource requirements. That is the needs for the future based on the strategic goals of the organization. Human resource forecasting attempts to determine the supply and demand for various types of human resources and to predict areas within the organization where there will be labor shortages or even surpluses. There are three major steps to forecast. That is forecasting the demand for labor, determining labor supply, determining and labor surpluses and shortages. Forecasting the demand for labor, how many people need to be working and in what jobs to implement companies' strategies and to attain organizational objectives. Usually, an organization forecasts demands for specific job categories or even skill areas. After identifying the relevant job categories or skills, the planner investigates the likely demand for each. The planner must forecast whether the need for people with the necessary skills and experience will increase or decrease. Constructing and applying statistical models that will help to predict labor demand for the next few years, given relatively objective statistics from the previous year. So therefore, when forecasting demands of human resource, one must assess the challenges that they will be meeting in staffing need based on the external environment. And how will the external environment impact our human resource needs? So the third step is all about gap analysis. It is to determine the gap between where your company wants to be in the future and where you are now. The gap analysis includes identifying the number of staff and the skills and abilities required in the future in comparison to the current situation. You should also look at all your organization's human resource management practices to identify those that could be improved or new practices required to support the company's capacity to move forward. There are a few questions that should be asked during gap analysis. What new jobs will need? What new skills will be required? Do your present employees have the required skills? Are your present employees in the position to use their strengths? And developing strategies to support organizational requirements. So, therefore, they can even plan for training and development strategies, recruitment strategies, and outsourcing strategies. With understanding the gap, the next and the last step in the process is developing human resource strategies to support company strategies. There are many human resource strategies for meeting the surplus or shortage in the future. Surplus restructuring or strategies for hiring, freeze layoff, transfers, reduce working time, reduces part-time shortage and shortage new hires or transfer hiring. So therefore, the company can think of strategies such as collaboration strategies and restructuring strategies. Collaboration strategy, the strategic human resource planning process may lead to indirect strategies that go beyond company. Examples of collaboration include working together to influence the types of courses, working with other companies to prepare future leaders, sharing the cost of training for groups of employees, or allowing employees to visit other organizations to gain insight and skills. Company can think of restructuring strategies. These include reducing staff either by termination or attrition, regrouping tasks to create well-designed jobs, reorganizing work units to be more efficient, and termination of employees. So these are the four steps involved in strategic human resource planning. The first was assessing the current human resource capacity, forecasting human resource requirement, followed by gap analysis, and the last step is developing human resource strategies to support organizational strategies.